Hey everybody, this is the Icon Buster again. And last week I started reading articles online about that net neutrality thing, and I've decided to start a series where I'm going to start reading more articles online. Now, I want to make it straight. If the person who actually writes the article comes to my video and asks me to take the video down, I will definitely do that, I guess. But basically, I'm going to definitely put in a link where other people can see the article, and I want more people to read, these things that I find online that I find interesting. Now, I think in my first video I mentioned that I am a huge wrestling fan, and there's actually one guy on the YouTube that I really like listening to, who's goes by his real name, I guess is Jason Solomon, but he goes on YouTube as the Solomonster. I'm a huge fan of his work. So what I did is I went out of the way and went to find the Layfield Report. And there I found his latest article that he wrote, and now I'm going to read it for you. It's called Making a Case for Lesnar versus Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Okay. And it says, courtesy of Wikipedia. How about that reaction for Daniel Bryan in Providence on Monday night, eh? Finally free of the Wyatt clan, Bryan was showered with adulations by the fans and the scene challenged only by the one that greeted him last month when Raw visited Seattle. On the show, John Cena made a point to inform Bryan that if he were victorious over Randy Orton in their unification bout at TLC, Bryan would be the first on his list of challengers. He would welcome a rematch of their epic encounter at SummerSlam. Unfortunately for Bryan, it was not meant to be. Or was it? Who's to say Cena doesn't dethrone Orton at the Royal Rumble, with Bryan outlasting 29 other men in the Rumble match? Sure, Bryan's concussion could potentially throw a monkey wrench in those plans if he's unable to get cleared by doctors in time for the pay-per-view, but anything is possible. I would welcome a Bryan rematch at WrestleMania 33. You know what I'd prefer even more? Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and it may be more likely than you think. Lesnar is an absolute beast. There is nothing fancy about the guy. He has no witty catchphrase, nor does he spend his time interacting with fans on social media. Hell, if you asked him about a hashtag, my guess is he would look at you funny before pounding you into a hole in the ground. There's nothing fake about Brock Lesnar. This is what separates him from everybody else on the roster. There is an intangible quality about the guy that cannot be manufactured. Even a decade removed from his more useful day in WWE as a full-time main event performer, he still possesses the level of athleticism and explosiveness that for a man his size is downright frightening. Some people may be upset even at the mere suggestion that a part-time player like Lesnar take up one half of the WrestleMania main event, let alone enter as a champion. These are likely the same people who made noise about Rock last year doing the same. I'm guessing those people aren't business majors, and if they were, I certainly wouldn't want them running my wrestling school, let alone my wrestling company. Sure, maybe a lot of that pay-per-view luster from his UFC days has worn off, but if booked correctly and with the right opponent, it would be pretty difficult not to do big business with Brock Lesnar. The seeds have already been planted. It was Triple H, the same man who dubbed Daniel Bryan a B-plus player and undercutted him at every corner in his quest to become WWE champion, who struck a deal with Paul Heyman to bring back Brock Lesnar back to WWE television. The same night, Heyman decreed his client, the number one contender for the title. Do I see Brock getting a champion singles match at the Elimination Chamber? No, but what I can see is Brock being a part of a chamber match with 5 other men with the title at stake. And yes, I've heard the same rumors you have for months now that a Lesnar versus Undertaker match is already preordained for the biggest show of the year. Maybe that's true. In fact, I think the odds are quite great that we will see that match. But what if Lesnar delivers on his promise and wins the title in the Chamber? Then Undertaker gets the title shot and wins it at WrestleMania. Oh wait, no, that wouldn't be good. I guess that's just the fanboy in me. I really would love to see Undertaker win the title at WrestleMania, but not going to happen. It'd be nice if they let Undertaker win the title and then retire with it, but yeah, I know. That's just the fanboy in me. It's not what's best for business. Even though I want to see the Undertaker win the title. Okay, anyways, back to the show. Which brings us to Daniel Bryan, the world's greatest underdog. Who could have ever imagined he would be this beloved by the WWE audience? Surely those of us who followed his career on the independent scene knew how talented he was inside the ring, but I doubt many people could have envisioned his accent to help... Envision his ascent to the top of the food chain in the universe where men were either lots of size or lots of charisma, or both, Vince's wet dream, typically rule the roost. In spite of some questionable bookings since SummerSlam, he is as popular as ever. If the WWE is interested in bringing closure to a storyline they started in 2013, that being Bryan versus the Authority, then that second leg of the story arc must begin with the Royal Rumble victory. Get him out there early. Forget number one. That's far too cliche. And let him take the fans on an emotional ride that pays off with a one-way ticket to WrestleMania's main event. After all, why else would Bryan ever be given another title opportunity by Triple H and Stephanie? Winning the Rumble match is the only logical path for him. Now, okay, so I'm going to break script a little bit here. So, like this past week on Raw, they announced that because the two Rowan and Hopper was going to be in the Royal Rumble, that Daniel Bryan could have a single match with Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't know if they're going to put... I know sometimes wrestlers do double duty. They'll wrestle in the match, and then they'll come back later and wrestle in the Royal Rumble. So I don't know if they're going to do that. But the way they talked, it almost talked like Bryan and Wyatt were going to only wrestle that one match. So I don't even know if Bryan's going to be in the Royal Rumble. But they could still get him in the main event at WrestleMania. I don't know how yet, but they could do it. I know they can. Let's keep going. Lesnar versus Bryan is an interesting match on many levels. First and foremost, it's a fresh match we haven't seen before. At a time when we're so accustomed to seeing the same matches over and over again on Raw and SmackDown, it is rare to see a match that are virgins to our eyes. Second of all, the fact that these men are so different from one another is precisely why I think it would make such an excellent match. Opposites attract, and you won't find two more polar opposite than Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan. Their personalities are very different, absolutely, but it's the size difference that really stands out. There was a time for that very reason I never thought a Lesnar versus CM Punk match would be all that appealing. But not only did they prove me wrong at SummerSlam, they went out there and had the match of the year. You know, I want to say something about that. They did go on and have the match of the year. It was definitely a lot better than The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania. Oh, keep going. Brock is not a giant slug. He'll go out there and bounce around for you like a rubber ball if it makes the match better. With Bryan, they've taken the time to establish him as a submission specialist, which lends itself well to the Kimono Lock versus the Yes Lock battle, if they want to go into that direction. David versus Goliath is an age-old tale that still works today. The couple that the fans desire to see Bryan finally get the one over the Authority, and not only would it make more for a satisfying climax to WrestleMania, but it makes storyline sense. You can only tease people for so long without giving them what they want. Triple H brings back the Beast, who then wins the title. Bryan earns a championship match the only way he can, by way of the Rumble, and slays the conquering Beast on the grandest stage, resulting in the largest yes chant in the history of mankind. If you thought that final scene last Monday was special, imagine that visual. Okay, I agree. So I just wanted to read this and kind of just go over it because I thought it was an interesting article, and I'm a big fan of the Solomonster. I'm going to, you'll probably find this video in his comment section on his latest video that he has out right now. Like I said, if Solomonster wants me to take this down because he wants people to actually go to the page itself and read it and not have someone who stutters throughout the whole thing read it, then I'll take it down. But Solomonster, please let me keep this up because I really like your stuff and I really like your videos, and I'm just reading this because I enjoy your work and I want to see more of you. So please don't kick me off before I get started here. You have a wonderful day, everybody, and goodbye.